everyone. Happy Sunday. Woohoo! Welcome to my Sunday show. Just putting my socks on for you because, gosh darn it, you're worth it. I always wake up, I make that coffee, I come out, take my shower. My goodness, we're going to have to start dyeing my hair a little bit more often. Either that or I'm just going to have to start loving the gray. Well, hello, Sharon Costella, also known as Boon Dragon. She is a new elder and an empath. Congratulations. So, we have classes that we offer to the elders and empaths, and I think I'm going to increase the number of classes I do. There's a couple of things I do in my home, including making herbs for my patients. I'm doing a lotion right now with a base of shea butter, lecithin to mix it. I think it might have some olive oil or something else in it. I have to take a look at the ingredients, but it's a facial ointment, and then I'll put some essential oil in there as well. Those are the kinds of things we do at healers and empaths level. A lot of you know I'm a naturopathic doctor, and so I'm like a combination of things. Oh, hello. Thank you for showing up, whoever you were. We welcome you. He went right over my head, that one. So we got our angels here. We just had a fairy show up. I don't know if y'all saw it. You can scroll back a few seconds. That was cool. Welcome to this is Whimsy. I am Whimsy. I am your host. I've been doing this show for about 3.5 years. We get together every Sunday. I'm rarely late, except when I'm in another country, like in Iceland. I had to start at 2 o'clock because we were having some problems. I don't know, was it charger going live, something like that? Anyway, how's everybody doing? We are doing well. As is our way, we are raising money for charity. The charity is the World Central Kitchen, which, as you know, is now based in Poland, feeding thousands, millions of migrants who are fleeing Ukraine. So, for that reason, we have decided that today's charity is the World Central Kitchen. They desperately need the help. What's cool about them is they go into these regions and then they cook things that the people will actually enjoy, like pierogies, things that people know. I was looking at some of the food that they were prepared. The reason I chose this charity for our Sunday show was because I was checking out the food that they were feeding people in Poland. Like they had a choice of various different cutlets. I lived in Europe for a lot of time. I'm part Hungarian Jewish, so I know the food very well. Chicken schnitzel with some cabbage on the side. It's like they're going to be so happy. And you can do a vegetarian version because Jewish people, we love our chicken cutlet, right? But now we have a vegetarian one we make with mushrooms that tastes exactly the same. It's very popular in Israel, so a lot of people don't eat meat anymore. Oh, thank you, Melissa Miller, for that generous donation. Hi, Janice Packard. Thank you so much for the donation to the World Central Kitchen. I also want to give a heads up. People know every spring, summer, I get an allergy. So I do apologize for the cough. I did not take any Zyrtex. I have been farming. I've been farming. Yes, I have. I planted all kinds of lettuces, radishes, carrots, rutabagas, spinach, Swiss chard, kale, like all the greens. So I'm very happy, but I get the dirt in my lungs and it causes a cough. The good news is once everything sprouts and the dust goes away, the cough goes away. I think Sheila gets it too. So you get to have two psychics hacking away Well, there's a lot of dust, if you do any farming. Uh, Even particularly if it's a small space, it's a lot of dust. I mixed, I, and also the soil, I've been mixing it with water because it's got a lot of cork in it. Anyway, you don't want to know. Linda, hi. Thank you so much for the $5 donation. Julie Wolfster in the house. Thank you so much for your $10 donation. Adventurous Spirit, thank you so much for your $10 donation. Okay, enough coughing. This will pass. That's what the doctors are telling me. They're saying that I went and got tested because people were like, she's dying. It was bad last year. I think last year was the worst I'd had it. And I came up positive for several types of tree pollen, several types of mold. You can get the allergy test. It's a bit expensive. But the thing is that I grew up in Oregon. So I grew up around this stuff. So you would think that it wouldn't be so bad, but it is. All right, let's go ahead and do gratitude. We'll go ahead and say hi to everybody. It goes away after a bit. Then after that, we'll talk about the remote view. Here's the remote view. We have a couple things to talk about. I have to get my notes. It's on Zelensky. I did a profile on Zelensky because you asked. Why did she profile Zelensky? Because you asked. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and show gratitude, and then we can go into what Zelensky had to say. Hello, Foggy Ozark. Good to see you. Hi, Pamela Doss. Good to see you. Thank you, by the way, Foggy Ozark. You come here every Sunday and you do really great work. So I and everybody here wanted to say thank you. We appreciate you. Hi, Joe Tilson. Always great to see you. Great questions. Hi, Sue N. T. Good to see you. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Copper Broom. Miss Patricia's in the house. In Denver. Dana Terry, good to see you. Joseph Lara Cuenta, great to see you. Watcher 9997. Boy, that cough is annoying. Apologize. Okay. Let's get started on the remote view. So remote view is starting at 11:13. So one of the things that people ask me to do is, would I go into the energy of Zelensky? We've done a lot of work with Putin. Now, a couple of months ago, when we did the Putin remote view, he said a couple of things. Number one is he said he wanted the Ukraine. Does everybody remember what Putin said to us about 3 months ago? And people said, why are you bothering with this? Move on. And people were annoyed. But Putin popped in about 3-4 months ago and he said, I want the Ukraine. Does everybody remember this? Sorry, he says the Ukraine. Right. Good, Patricia. And you remember about 3-4 months ago, I had asked him in the remote, could you be more specific with me? You got to be respectful, right? And he said, yes, I'll be very specific. I'm going to take control of the Black Sea. Do you remember that? Then he said he was going to take Odessa, right? So here's what we have. If you click on your map and you look at Ukraine, you'll see Russia, you'll see Ukraine, and you'll see the Black Sea. You'll also see a smaller sea. Can people remind me what the name of that smaller sea is that he's taking control over? So there's a small sea, Then there's a Black Sea. I'm not talking about the Caspian. I'm talking about that little tiny sea. So what he did is he brought his troops in, and he is trying to take the port of Odessa. He's also taking the ports around that small sea. He's taken Georgia. He's controlling Chechnya. He's brought fighters in from Chechnya. These are the bad guys that incinerated the Muslim extremists in Chechnya. So he's brought 1,000 of them in. So from Sea of Azov, thank you so much. So he wants control of the Sea of Azov, and he wanted the Black Sea. And what he was saying in the remote is that it affords him the ability to control all these areas without having to pay a toll, right? Not having to pay a tariff, not having to pay a toll, not having to have prices controlled by NATO and strategic partners, right? Yeah, he's talked about desperately wanting Odessa, and then we had to do our homework because people think I'm smart here, but I'm not. I'm always getting lectured by my targets, and then I have to go back and I have to take a look. So he basically said that it was about the fact that we were screwing over Russia financially when it came to ports and getting trade. And specifically, he was upset about the ports of call and this feeling that it was stolen from us. That's how he felt. It was stolen from Russia, us meaning Russia. So what it did was it created an opening between Central Asia and Europe. Now things have gotten really complicated because he had a working relationship with Erdogan, which is a NATO country, but they're sending defensive systems over. But from Putin's perspective, they are winning because he's taken Odessa. He's taken particularly what he wants. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So from Zelensky's perspective, so now we know what Putin wanted because he wouldn't shut up about it, but now he's done it, right? I don't know why we were surprised. He told us he was going to do it, but anyway. So from Zelensky's perspective, I did a profile on Zelensky last night, and I tried to put myself in the shoes of what it was to be a comedy actor. He kind of has a comedy style that's similar to Roberto Benigni, very self um, deprecating. He's the everyman who's goofy, who always gets the pretty girl. You know, those are the characters he plays, similar to Roberto Benigni. So, what people don't realize about Zelensky, and I think what Zelensky didn't realize about himself, was that there are certain ethics and values that I think Zelensky assumed everybody had. He said that when I went into the remote, he said that in the end, everything was supposed to be a joke and a comedy, and it was always about getting the joke or getting the laugh. That was his job. So so from Zelensky's perspective, what he says to us in the remote is, I had a pretty easy job. Easy, smooth gravy, right? They pay me big bucks and I get people to laugh and feel good. So he had a very clear idea about what his job was as an actor and an entertainer. He tried to get along with everybody. As much as we don't want to admit it, there are parallels between him and Trump's campaign in the sense that he didn't want to debate people. And he ran the entire campaign on the internet, and it was supposed to be a joke. So it was almost like promoting Zelensky for president. So he said, in a way, this started as a joke. It started as a joke, and he said that during the beginning of the campaign, when the joke started, somewhere in the middle of this, it starts to become serious, and he finds himself literally becoming the president of Ukraine. One of the things that surprised him about becoming a president and becoming the president of a country was he said that he was surprised that there was something shocking or revolutionary about his ethics. This is the thing that because he kind of became this accidental president, but in a way, he said he was very surprised that people were shocked by his ethics. So he assumed that his ethics would be that everybody would share the same ethics. He has very strong ethics regarding obligations to family and obligations to your country. Extremely educated. He presented as extremely educated, extremely judicious. There is a side of him when you go into his energy where he is a bit of a people pleaser. He doesn't like to disappoint people energetically. The interesting part of going into Zelensky's energy was conversations that he had had with his wife and conversations that they try to avoid with their children, but everybody has to have a conversation about the fact that he may not live through this experience. So, conversations they have to have about wills, conversations they have to have about making sure the children are taken care of. These are the kinds of tough conversations that he has had to have with his family. In terms of, he has a law degree, highly educated, just like Al Franken is highly educated, but a comedian from Harvard, ran the Harvard Lampoon. So you have people that are comedians, but that doesn't mean they aren't extremely educated. But the thing that I really took away from Zelensky being in his remote was just that he is very laissez-faire. Is that how you say it? Regarding his ethics. Of course, you take care of your family, you take care of your wife, you take care of there's a certain level of ethics that he just assumes. So the fact that he would be a corrupt politician and would take off, that kind of surprised him because he just assumed that this is what you do when your country, when you're called to serve your country and you are, in this situation. Where it stands right now for him, it looks like he is willing to negotiate with Putin because Putin wants trade, etc. So from Zelensky's perspective is, okay, we'll share the ports. Okay, I'm not going to be part of NATO. You got what you wanted. I'm going to stay in a power. We're going to be an independent country, but we will let you take control of these things. If you want it so damn bad, we will find a way. So this is the point that Zelensky is coming to. So we have to have a conversation when you go into this energy and where he's at. We have to have a conversation about whether or not America has a right to press Ukraine to be on the front lines, getting itself killed. But we don't want to give them anything. So we keep telling them fight, 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 fight for freedom, but we're not closing the skies because we're afraid of World War III. We're not bringing them into NATO. We're not bringing them into the EU. We're not doing anything to keep him from not making a deal with Putin. And so the situation is how it is with Zelensky is that he's really been pushed into a situation where he has to negotiate with Putin. The thing is, when you put yourself in the shoes with Biden, EU, and NATO, the last thing in the world they want is for Ukraine to make a deal with Putin. So we have to decide, Europe and EU and NATO and the United States, are we going to interfere or not? Because if we don't interfere, Putin will win. And specifically, I think he's gonna do what he said. He's going to take the Black Sea so that he can control tariffs and prices of products coming in from East Asia into Europe. I mean, it's very obvious. But why would Putin want to bow out? He's winning. He's not losing. He's trying to take, he's already taken control of their nuclear power plants. He's taking control of their ports, which is what he said he was going to do. He'll stop when he gets what he wants. A lot of people say Putin is losing, but he's taken a lot. He's taken the plants. He's moving into take Odessa, and the other thing is you have sleeper cells. You have a lot of people. Wow, I look so Hungarian today. Speaking of that part of the world, I was like getting ready today. I was saying, I look so Hungarian Jewish today. My I have a great grandmother that came from Budapest, but so boy, I know the food. It's absolutely delicious. So anyway, that's the situation we find ourselves in. It makes me think, well, what's the United States going to do? Continue to give defensive help, or are we going to go in and push Putin out? Because Putin's not leaving. If he takes Odessa, he's not going to give up Odessa. Yeah, so that's what it is to be Zelensky right now. What I liked about his wife, oh my God, she's been crying so much. I also briefly profiled what it was to be Mrs. Zelensky. She really is in love with her husband. This really made her fall in love with him in a very, very deep way. Having to have those real conversations about getting the children safe and getting her safe. And I mean, this is a very deep relationship. He and his wife are serious. That is a serious connection. All right, so that is what I have. There are good men in this world. That's the night. When you start to feel down about humanity, you look at someone like Zelensky. I take back every bad thing I ever said about actors, right? I'm just kidding. But it's pretty cool. Well, I think Ton. Oh, good, my cough went away. Well, Ton, I think that it's depressing, but I think it's also inevitable that NATO's going to get involved. NATO has to get involved. It's either that or Russia just starts picking away at Eastern Europe. Specifically, though, he tells us what he wants. He wants the ports. He wants to control tolls and prices. All right, Ian's saying some interest. Hi, Ian, by the way. Good to see you, Ian. Thanks for coming in. Putin's fate will be one of two things. Number one, he will end up like Nikolai Cheshko, or he will be his 1917 pick your choice, or it will be 1917 pick your choice. Putin says, stop saying 1917. It's one of the things he said in the remote. The revolution started in 1912, he says, with the first workers' revolution. But I know what you mean, Ian. Thank you, Anonymous, for the $20 donation to the World Central Kitchen. Such a great organization. So no comments. You know how long it took me to iron this thing? I'm getting some big knockers the older I get, just like my mother. Yeah, I'm doing, this is from, I bought it in Little India. Yeah, in LA. Anyway, you know how long it takes to I need help with my ironing. Now, I have a question about ironing. Does fabric softener make clothing less wrinkled so it's easier to iron? Is that what the function of this stuff is? Thank you, Anonymous, for that donation. Thank you, Anonymous, for the donation. Two Anonymous. World Central Kitchen, $20. Thank you so much. Oh, it's an old rally, the 2014 rally. I don't know about that because people were there in Russia, uh, reporters saying that people were leaving early. It doesn't surprise me. It controls static. Get a steamer. I love cotton, but cotton, look at the wrinkles on cotton. There's got to be a way to wear cotton and not have the wrinkle problem. Okay, so it's a static cling issue. Thank you, Anonymous, for that $20. And thank you, Anonymous, for the $50 donation. You know, I never wear a mask when in gardening, and we have so much fungus. And I know I'm allergic. I've been tested. So I need to do, but I just don't have the discipline for it. Madeira. Oh, good for you. Thank you, Gail. Yeah, fabric softener is toxic, so I don't use it. But there's got to be a way to make it eat starch. It just takes forever with starch. I don't like ironing. Use faultless starch. Well, I'm such an old-fashioned girl. What I would probably do is I would take my spray bottle, cut a potato in half like they do in Russia, or quarters, throw it in the bottle, shake it up, and then that's how you just throw a potato in the water. Why spend money? Oh, good for you, wholesome girl. Dog organizations. Okay, Ruth Pearl. She's saying to shake out the laundry. I will remember that. Thank you. Okay, so we're getting Debbie Brady has asked us to move on, and you know, she must be reading my mind. We've got a lot of psychics here. Let's go ahead. Let's do the empath's prayer. And I would like to give you all a reading, a message to you from Spirit. Would you all like to hear it? Would you all like to experience that? Are we ready to move on? Would you all like to get a prayer? And would you all like to receive a prayer, a blessing, and a reading? Would you all like that? Well, then let's do it. Oh. Okay, I'm getting the yes on the reading. Let's do it. All right. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, as a community, we say, Amen. Let's go in. What is the message from Spirit? So, 28 minutes and 30 seconds in, we are starting. If anybody wants to write the time down, we are starting the community prayer. I like that we usually start the community prayer after about 20-25 minutes after we do the remote, because it takes a while for people to show up. A lot of people don't show up until a half hour in. Oh, thank you, Diana Kashi. I have the best friends in the world. I get to hang out with you guys on Sundays. All right, so the first message from Spirit is that people, it's really important from Spirit's perspective that people understand that it's a hive, it's a community. And so if a hive member is disturbed, everybody in the hive gets disturbed, right? So this is why walking away from a mentally disturbed person and saying, oh, he'll get his eventually. Oh, he'll get his eventually. It doesn't really work, right? We always have to address the problem, and we always have to address it with compassion. We never want to go hurting someone who's disturbed. But the rational thing to do is to put emotion aside and to deal with the issue. So from that perspective, we go forward with our life at a time when things are very, very just, they're very scary because we have a lot of scary things going on. So the message from Spirit is this: as crazy as things sound, as crazy as things feel right now, the truth of the matter is that life is getting really, really stable for you and for me in many ways. Now is the time to look at, again, your finances, your living situation, making sure you don't have any unnecessary expenses, being about your business, doing your job professionally. All of that's true. But they're also saying that after COVID, a lot of American life just starts to stabilize. Despite all the crazy, horrible nightmare, this is atrocious what's going on in Ukraine. But for us here in America, life actually becomes pretty stable. Where we're at right now, the karma card is Two of Wands, strong partnerships, right? And also opening of trade, right? Trade opens and closes. It's, we had a bad situation with trade during and inflation being out of control, but we see this stabilizing energy coming in with Two of Wands. So I think that prices are going to come down with a card like Two of Wands, because Two of Wands is the guy that sits. I can address people's questions after I'm done and we start the blitzes, then I can go back. But right now, I just have to get through the community prayer just to let people know. But thank you for putting the red question mark, because it makes it easier for me to see. Anyway, so we actually are in a time of stable trade coming for us, and then we have the nice King of Pentacles. So I feel like a lot of people in this community, you're all going to be okay. Despite everything that's going on, we're all going to be okay. Where we're at right now, family legacies, family business, taking care of ourselves, taking care of our family obligations, the Ten of Pentacles. I think this community has really taken Spirit's advice very seriously. A lot of you have really gotten your acts together, paying your rent, watching your electricity bill, chop wood, carry water. This is a community that has really taken that seriously. Family dynamics, getting our house in order. What is crossing us? Smooth waters in springtime. So it's showing for us a very peaceful spring. It seems like what's going on in Ukraine becomes more and more distant. What's coming in, the water's melting. This is March. This is my March baby. This is my Pisces. Oh, did you see another one just go by? We have a lot of angels here today. Is everybody seeing the, well, whoever you are, we're happy to see you. I don't know. Have you all been seeing? We're getting a lot of visitors. And I've closed out the lighting from outside, so it's contained light, whatever it is. Anyway, so this is my March baby. So expect good times and financial stability for you in March. And what is above you, love and romance, returning to the old ways, opportunities for travel for some of you in the springtime. What you're coming out of, you've been anointed and blessed, and your work has been anointed and blessed as well. Be frugal, but don't be afraid. You're not poor, but you must be frugal until things stabilize. Where you're at right now, a celebration of family, a celebration of love. Some of you who are looking for true love will find it this year. The Ten of Cups comes to you with a Six of Cups in your fourth house. Some of you are going to know what true love is by the end of this year. Some of you are going to start volunteering more than you ever have before, helping those who cannot help themselves, seeking justice whenever you can, just like Zelensky. Sometimes the time finds you. He was, it started off as a joke running, and then people began to take it seriously. This is what your cards look like. Opportunity, talent meets opportunity. an opportunity to help those who cannot help themselves, service work, even possibly political work for some of you. Hopes and fears, Ace of Wands, starting new projects and new endeavors. Final outcome for you is comfortable in the garden, financial stability, be about your business. I want to see an account and a reckoning book for everybody here, right? Does everybody have a 99-cent account and a reckoning? Are we all good little Victorians? It's also got my taxes in here. I also got my notes in here, my remote from Zelensky. Everything's a mess. Final outcome is Queen of Pentacles. She knows her business. Your concern, entrepreneurship, starting your own projects. The point they're saying is be consistent. Oh, you've been seeing the orbs flying around? Yeah, it's really cool when they show up. I'm always happy. It's usually after the empath prayer they come in. What I would say to you is that your cards are excellent. Pull back from too much external energy. Don't stress so much about what's going on in the outside world. Give when you can, like we raised money for food. We certainly vote politically. Most of the people who vote here, we tend to vote. We tend to be strong supporters of social justice, etc. Help when you can, volunteer when you can. But overall, they're basically saying hunker down, be frugal within reason. You're not going to be impoverished. The situation in the United States is going to improve. Let go of things that stress you out. Create a peaceful life for yourself and help others when you can. But overall, you're fine. You're going to be okay. There's nothing scary happening here. Let go of the small stuff. So that is what I see for, vote, support social change, justice, raise money. I don't mind coming out here on Sundays and hanging with a bunch of cool people and raising money for charity. I think it's a wonderful way to spend a Sunday, right? So I think the takeaway here is focus on what you need to do to take care of yourself. Open yourself to love. There are wonderful people in this world that want to love you. There are the Zelenskys of the world. Not everybody is a Putin, right? And keep yourself balanced and not stressed, and do your best, and you're probably going to be fine. Those were not scary cards. Look, if you had gotten the Tower or the Ten of Swords, you didn't get any of those cards. You're doing fine. You could be a little bit better. I'll be honest with those cards. The fact that the Four of Pentacles, you could, be a little bit careful because things are still a little weird. But the cards also said, and become a Zelensky. How do you find a Zelensky? You become a Zelensky. Right? Do you have his integrity? Oh my God, his wife is so in love with him. When I went into the remote on his wife, she was like crying and she was like so in love with him because he was going to go off and do this thing. And I think they must have gone to Poland because she was with the kids somewhere else. And I just thought, wow, she really married her soulmate. She really, he has his wife's heart and soul. They really are in love. It should happen for you, right? Yeah. I think that they came together at a time when, it started off that he was fun and charming and, they had a lot of laughs together. She's a screenwriter. And they both were intellectuals and had a creative spark. But now that their whole world has fallen apart, what I think Zelensky and his wife have come to realize is that, wow, you and I really do share the same value. When push comes to shove, you see what someone's values are. And in a way, it made them closer as a couple. And they really came to realize, like, you and I really are in this together. And you and I really do share these values. And we are 100% in this. And so When I saw that, when I went into the energy, I just thought, wow, true love is real. There are people in this world that really are like this. Like, I am 100% with my husband, and he is get the kids to safety. If I should die, here's the legally what I need you to do. We're in this together. And I'm 100% behind my husband. It was that kind of a feeling. It was like, whoa, that's a partnership. Thank you, wholesome girl. So whenever I get thank you. You're awesome too. Thank you, Jude Gerard, for that generous donation. Um, I'm sure the people that benefit from the World Central Kitchen are very appreciative of you and all you've done. So whenever I get the Blitz, Blitz, Blitz away order, I guess we'll go ahead and do that, and I'll hang until you folks get sick of me. If you haven't had a chance to hit the like button, that would be awesome. I would appreciate it. I also want to give gratitude to everybody who joined Patreon. I now have a Patreon. We get together. They watch. I tell them what my favorite book is that I'm reading, that sort of thing, and it helps raise money to pay my student loan debt off, which unfortunately, it's one of those things you can't run from. Also wanted to just make an announcement that our heart-centered remote viewing training course, which is 10 weeks for level 1, 10 weeks for level 2, and 10 weeks for certification as a teacher, starts this Tuesday. Oh, Tuesday. Hold on. Sunday. Oh, it will be my birthday. March 22nd, Dr. Whimsy's birthday. I will be 59 years old. So I'll be teaching class 1 Tuesday at 5 p.m. So if you are, you can come too, whoever you are. That was a fairy and an empath. Did you see that float right by my head? You can come back if you like. Somebody's having fun here today. Anyway, I'd love to have you show up. We need as many. Oh, they're all over the place today. We need as many empaths as we can. Fairies and angels, that's the tier where we get together on Saturdays and we do a healthy Saturday lunch. We talk about healthy things. You saw the one that flew right over my head. Yeah, they're strange. They're like, what it looks like to me, these angel fairies are, sometimes they have a structure, sometimes they have wings. They have a body. It's rather strange. For whatever reason, they decided to show up a lot today. So we're happy to see them. All right, let's do this. We're going to go ahead and blitz, blitz, blitz away. Yeah. They were gone for a while. We did the empath prayer. Yes. And we did the community prayer as well. We did it all. We did it all. We know it all. We see it all. Okay, let's see if I can find any of those red question marks so that I can get this question. Okay. Okay, this question is coming from Karen W. Hi, Karen. Thank you for your question. She wants to know, there's reports that Senator Josh Hawley is trying to get her killed. Yeesh. What is going on with Supreme Court nomination? Let's see about Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. Goodness gracious. What is going on with Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson? Okay, here's what we see. There is opposition to Judge Jackson. There is extreme, they want to put a stop to this. We have to realize that there are white supremacists, Nazis, neo-Nazis in strong positions of political power in the South, and many of them are in government. They really don't want to see Black people having any power whatsoever. It's just the way it is. It's shocking for us if you grew up liberal parents in the North. I mean, this is like something you read about in books. It's like, I don't know, I'm from Seattle. But this world is real to them. This world is real to them. And they fear Black people. They're afraid of Black people. It's a phobia, right? So that's how it feels when you're a remote viewer. And that's how it feels when you remote view and you try to put yourself in the shoes of what it is to be a victim of one of these crazy people. So you have Knight of Swords here, which is the angry, violent knight coming after her. So, yeah, they want to stop her. This is like the Ku Klux Klan. Oh no, don't allow her on the Supreme Court. These are the same people that didn't want to have Obama in the White House. They felt like it, Obama talked about it in his autobiography, his last book. He said they felt that I was disturbing the natural order. That's what Obama said. I was disturbing the natural order by going into the White House. So that's the same feeling. Oh no, you will not let her in there. Female and Black, you're disturbing the natural order, right? But the situation changes, so it is transformed. We have a serious illiteracy problem in our country, right? We have a serious problem with primary education. We've got to clean it up because a lot of this has to do with poverty and problems with primary education. There will be a celebration over here, a celebration of women. These types of racists believe that the reason that Justice Thomas is there is because as long as he's controlled, right? As long as the white man is controlling, then it's okay. So Thomas is controlled, so he's okay. This is the mindset we're talking about. Where she is right now, a celebration is over her. And she's moving to the Supreme Court. 3 of Wands. What is above her? There's the contract. She accepts it. She takes the oath. 9 of Pentacles. She's very confident in her capability. She feels very confident. What she's coming out of, she's leaving her old job and she's entering into victory, Ace of Swords, within 1 year. King of Swords, she's very protected. King of Swords in the 7th house. People can scream and rant and rave, but she's getting on the courts. 2 of Wands, partnership. She's not going to get any trouble from a lot of different Republicans. I don't think Lindsey Graham is going to make a problem. Agreement, partnership. The hope and the fear. She is the hope and the fear, Queen of Wands. The final outcome for her, trying to control her. So they will try to control her. They will try to jail her. She's aware of them. The FBI has look, she's under high surveillance now. Look at this. Jailed up in her home with crazy people running around. So this is when the FBI contacts you and says, because you're now a nominee for the Supreme Court, you need what you said, Joel Tilson said, you need 24-hour protection. We have to take you to and from. All of this has to happen because of who you are right now. So in plain words, it's not her fight to fight. That's between the feds. Let the police do their job. Her job is just to let them protect her, and she goes from point A to point B. I don't see a big problem getting through. Like Lindsey Graham will say yes, Romney will say yes, probably all the Democrats will say yes. I'm sure she'll pass with at least. I can't see what they would be opposed to. She doesn't change the dynamics of the court, and she's well respected by both parties, so I don't see it being a problem. So thank you, Anonymous, for the $50 donation. Very appreciated. I need help with these questions. I can't see any questions. The real estate market is crazy, Joel Tilson. Absolutely crazy. All right. So Kimberly is talking about NATO. And according to Kimberly, NATO is leaving to way too late to do something. So Zelensky is not forced to give Putin what he wants. He murdered civilians, reduced Ukrainians to rubble. He should not be rewarded for that. Okay. So let's find out if let's just look at what's going to happen in Ukraine over the next week. Let's just see if we can get anything for the next week on Ukraine. What's going to happen with Ukraine over the next week? Are they going to enter into negotiations? So there looks to be some kind of, it goes back to remotes. When you look at the history of Russia and where Russia is located, they have a long history of antagonism. It's like they're never really accepted by Europe. They're kind of like the barbarians in the north. They're tolerated, but they're not considered equals, right? They weren't considered equals. The aristocrats of Russia were not equals with the aristocrats of Britain, right? They were trying to get in with the British aristocracy, right? Queen Victoria. They were always desperate to be on even keel, right? Russians were always the redheaded stepchild. So here we have this dynamic now where the UN comes in and all of Europe is again pointing at Russia and saying, you don't get to be a part of our party. I think that it looks like very strong decisions being made by UN. You have the UN, NATO coming in, strong decisions, emperor, solid logic. A peace treaty is offered, 6 of Cups. What is crossing? Leaving poverty behind. Poverty card. Zelensky is beaten up, man. They demolished the amount of money. Never mind the human cost of human lives. Here it is again, peace offering. Heartbreak. Ukraine is heartbroken. They're already building a case against Putin, that's for sure. They're basically saying to Putin, either sign a peace treaty within 1 week or NATO's going to get involved. We're going to be giving him 1 week in this agreement, or there will be a NATO. We are on the verge of World War III. There's this realization that they're going to help more than they've helped. Walking away from what they've built. Who walks away from what they've built? There's confusion here. It's a lot of grief on the battlefield. I got to get into this from Russia's perspective because it just looks terrible. I mean, who does that? Who walks into a peaceful country and massacres a bunch of people and then just completely demolishes their way of life? I have to see what I want to see what NATO's going to do. What is NATO going to do? I'm losing a lot of questions, Pippa, just because I can't see them. Pippa Rose? Like, that's a good question, but it just gets lost if I don't have a big red. Okay, what's the UN going to do? What's the UN going to do about the Ukraine? Ukraine. I keep saying the Ukraine. I've been talking to Putin too much. Decision has to be made by NATO. There could be something negotiated because of prisoner exchange. In plainer words, if they have so many Russian prisoners, it could be an advantage. So one of the things they're trying to do, Russian soldiers abducted 200 citizens from Mariupol. That's so interesting that Mama Sial says that, because what they're saying here is that there are enough prisoners on both sides and soldiers on both sides that they could negotiate a peace treaty based on prisoner exchange. That's what they're trying to focus on. Okay, so let's move on to other questions. Thank you, everyone who is putting the red questions so that I can see them. All right. Christine Burma writes, Rep. Val Demings is running against Mark Rubio. I didn't know that, but let's see if Val Demings wins. Foggy, I'll take care of that. Thank you for doing that. All right, let's see about Val Demings. What's the future of Val Demings against Marco Rubio? Val Demings. Marco Rubio has a lot of financial support, so it's going to be very difficult for her to beat Marco Rubio based on these cards. We like Val Deming, but when you look at the amount of support the Republicans have in Florida and the amount of support that Rubio has, it's going to be hard for him to beat her because of partnerships, and then he wins it. So I would say for Val Demings, it's going to be it's going to be very, very stick to local issues, not talk about Trump and Russia or anything like that. Instead, oh, hi, Kay. Kay Travels here. Hi, Kay. Good to see you. Because Val Demings is popular with us, but we have to think in terms of she has a very spiritual and ethical side to her. And so she would be appealing to that population, all about fairness, voting rights, etc. But they also have to talk about things like local issues like the environment, etc. And if she does that, if she can bring it more down to local issues, then she could win. But she has a tough road ahead. Okay, so let's see here. Next question. Coming Foggy Ozark, hypnotist from Julie Wooster. Hi, Julie. Will there be a revolution in Russia after the bodies start coming home? Let's take a look. Good question. Will there be a revolution in Russia once the bodies come home? Good questions, you guys. I love it when you guys just start hitting me with good questions. Will there be a revolution once the bodies come home? There's an intellectual revolution taking place, that's for sure. So what begins to happen is that there are a lot of activities taking place at the university level, school, exchange of ideas, new beginnings. How this will most likely end, they will get rid of Putin. The most likely outcome is that academics, intellectuals, and people in positions of power they're scared of what happened to the country. Yes, there'll be a revolution. It'll start at the universities. And most likely outcome is that Putin will be removed. He'll basically, doesn't matter if he's hiding in his bunker. They're taking away his war toys. He's hiding in a bunker. People think he's hiding there with his finger on the nuke. That's not going to happen with these types of cards. He can continue to hide in his bunker, but his ability to communicate with these people anymore and give those instructions is what's taken away. You have here the future of Russia, scholarship, and they're smart, brilliant people. Scholarships and intellectuals. You have things moving very, very quickly. This is the time of Aries, right? Also the perfect judge. I think by the time of Aries, we could see major changes. I think Putin's finished. I agree with what some of the other readers have said, that Putin's on his way out, because these cards do not bode well. Around spring of 2022, around the time of Aries, which is now, it's March 20th. We're now entering into, I'm in Aries, March 22nd. I'm telling you, around Aries is going to determine whether or not Putin has a future at all. And I don't think he does. You can see here, heartbreak over the time of Aries. Here he is, the Aries child, Page of Wands, a new beginning, scholarship, and then fighting, intellectual fighting, and then victory by the summer. Yes, I think that they're going to start going after Putin with those cards, because I try to get dates with cards during the time of spring, during the time of fire, right? And this is all fire energy, fire between spring and summer, right? So I'm going to go ahead and predict that Putin's on his way out. How could he survive? He doesn't have the resources. This is the great end of Putin. He brought them into a failed war. Thousands of people died, came home in body bags. That's exactly what you said, Julie. And he was systematically removed. That's basically what happens. Prison isn't good enough for him. I mean, and you know how I feel about prisons, but it's just so horrible what's happened that it's an oligarch's plane landed in Florida last night, according to Joanne Hall. Huh. Why was he there? Was he there to meet Republicans? God, you guys, you know all the dirt. Why did the Republican land in Florida? Or why did the oligarch land in Florida? Because Florida, it goes back to the remote views. Remember the remote views we had where we were in Florida? Do you remember this? And we did a remote view about all the people that had been compromised by Putin. Do you remember this conversation? And we had said, well, we're going to take out Trump and it's all going to end. We're going to take out Trump. And do you remember what Putin said? There's 500 more where he came from. And then we asked to explain. And then they said in the remote, he and the Russian communities that had started this. Well, what we did is we offered low interest loans and financial opportunities to people of interest. And we were able to bribe and control people of interest like Trump. So it isn't just Trump that took money from AEB Bank and Deutsche Bank. We offered large loans at no interest because we wanted these people to do things for us. So does it surprise us that a bunch of senators wound up in Russia on July 4th? Because they've all taken out loans. They've all got this money from questionable sources through banks of questionable sources, which are basically Putin's bank. So this whole thing was set up. So where do we see this relationship between a bunch of bot Republicans who think everything's great? We love Russia. The women are beautiful in Russia, right? They've been wined, they've been dined, they've been given prostitutes, they've been given large amounts of money with no interest. So they don't know that they're turning Miami into little Moscow. It's not little Cuba, it's little Moscow, right? So when you go into the energy and I try to talk to them about this wheeling and dealing, about how Mar-a-Lago was bought with Russian money, about how all this business is being done with Russian money, the response you get from one of these people is, oh, she's one of those idiot liberals. She doesn't understand how the world works. Everybody's taking out these loans, and you would have too if you were in our business, if you understood business, right? So we have a disaster when it comes to the number of people that have been compromised. So it doesn't surprise me that an oligarch who's probably doing business with these people who think it's just business, doesn't surprise me he's landing in Miami. Doesn't surprise me that they're getting money through the NRA from questionable means. They think Russia's great because Russia's giving them everything they want. Russia has great parties. Of course, you want to hang out with the person who has great parties. Okay, so why did... I know you're getting angry. Is it illegal? That's the question. Why did he land in Miami? Good question. Well, it's the same thing. They were doing business. I mean, they keep their yachts there. Their yachts got taken. They have to come back to Florida to try and argue, can I get my freaking property back? It feels like there's a little bit of that here, coming back to deal with business in the United States regarding possibly confiscated property. They have to go in. They have to go to the police station. I got this ticket. You took my freaking boat. I'm not a criminal. I just do business. Can I have my boat back, please? I got a ticket. So it's been confiscated. You seized my boat because you got an issue with so-and-so. I'm just a wealthy businessman from Russia. I'm a nice guy. It has that feel to it. Hung it up. His stuff was confiscated. You want to come, you got to come and collect your boat. You want to get your boat's not going to be released. Your boat is under control by the feds. So how do I get my boat back? You're going to have to, you can't get your boat back. We're in the middle of a Cold War all over again. Not only that, but if it's part of a criminal probe, and it is, yes, your boat is part of a criminal probe, which means what? Means that the boat is evidence, right? So it's been seized And then they've got evidence. So do you think the guy's going to get it back? No. Do you think they want to talk to him? Absolutely. Do you think they want to know what conversations took place over the water when you weren't on U.S. soil? Absolutely. Mueller trying to get on those boats. Mueller watching from federal lands what conversations were taped, who was compromised, political decisions that were made, putting money into campaigns, which means that they have a right to seize the boats, go through, look at any electronic activity, communication, call records, blah, 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 blah. And so the only way it's going to end is that this oligarch, whoever they are, has to go into partnership with the feds. Importing, exporting partnership. You'll get your boat back once we seize it, go through it, look at call records, look at what activities, look at who was on the boats. You'll cooperate. This nightmare will come to it. This was an invasion. And the Biden administration is treating what the Russians did with the Republicans and other people of interest who they compromised through these loans and business deals. This was a war. This is exactly what Mueller said. They took everything. This was a long time in coming. And when this war is over and when they've got everything when you've agreed to tell us precisely what you were up to, we'll think about giving you your boat back. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't even keep up with this soap opera, which is what it's like. It's a bit of a soap opera. Hi, Miss Lori. Thank you so much for showing up. When is DeJoy going to disappear from the United States Postal Service? Wouldn't we all like to know? When is he leaving? DeJoy. The joyous DeJoy. United States Postal Service. When is this nightmare leaving? When is DeJoy leaving? Biden cannot stand DeJoy. There's no love lost here between these people. Biden's perspective is that he's pretty much useless because his job was to slow things down and to make it so that people would have to go to the United States, to go to United Postal or to some other carrier. The point was to starve out United States Postal Service so that people would go towards private companies instead. That was the ethics of DeJoy. His ethics, and then Biden's disgusted with him. They've been trying to work together, but it's not a workable relationship because, it's all about the nanny state. Got to get rid of anything that's owned by the feds, including mail. Looks like there's a confrontation that's going to happen between Biden's people and DeJoy, and it's not a working relationship because they don't share the same priorities. They're either going to have to get prices down with the post office or raise the cost of mailing. But either way, DeJoy will probably have to leave sooner rather than later because it's not a working relationship based on ethics. You can see here walking away, they don't share an ethics issue. They have an ethics issue together. So the emperor over Biden laying down the law, and then the partnership falls apart. There's a tower, and then people celebrate, which leads me to suspect that it's not workable. So yeah, he will probably have to leave. When does he leave? I don't know. Probably sooner rather than later. I didn't get a date on it, but he leaves because it's not workable. All right, Doreen. She wants to know if NATO comes in, whether or not we're going to see nuclear war. Let's take a look. I don't think so, because I think there are people in positions of power in Russia that are grounded in reality, and they don't want Russia to create the next world war. They're just going to take away Putin's toys. It's really very simple. You don't have to be frightened of him. You just simply have to take away his toys. If all those people sitting there listening to him had gotten up and walked out, that would have been the end of it. His cabinet needs to just get up and walk out. Be done with this already. This nightmare's gone on long enough. That needs to be the attitude. All right, so the question is, nuclear war risk if NATO goes in. No, here's the thing. Here's the conversation. Here's the bottom line. The World Bank, the UN, EU, NATO, they have to decide whether or not it is worth it for them to financially invest in Ukraine. Do they want to put money up for Ukraine? And the answer is yes. So the decision by Europe, the decision by NATO is we're going to have to bring them into Europe, and we're going to have to make them part of NATO because it's strategically too important. If Europe learned anything from this experience, it's the importance of protecting Ukraine because of and Moldova, anybody on the Black Sea. The takeaway from this is just how strategically important it is. So they're going to put money into Ukraine. You can see the money here. They're going to rebuild. Hanging it up, an offer, and then big money comes in. This feels like decimated. The Ukraine was decimated. This is like billions, trillions of dollars going in to protect those ports. Mila, don't do that. She's playing with the blinds. Why are you doing that, Mila? I love you too. You want to come over here and hang out with me? No, I keep seeing Putin is gone. I keep seeing that Putin is gone. Something happens. Either he's removed by his own people, and then Europe coming in and rebuilding. And I think, Mila, cut it out. Come down here. Come on. Come on. Monster. Anyway, so I see Putin. No, I don't see a nuclear war. I see Putin being removed and NATO, UN, etc., pouring billions into rebuilding Ukraine. That's a really good question. Will Ukraine take Crimea? Mila, get down. You come here. Come on, Mila. Come on. Come say hi. Come say hi to everybody. You coming? You coming? I'm talking to her like that. Hey, Mila. You coming? You coming? She loves it when I do that. Hi. Hi, Mila. Where are you going? What you doing? You could come say hi to everybody? Where are you? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Yep. You coming? Hey! Everybody missed you. They wondered where you were. I love you. Gonna help me finish my gardening? That's giving me a horrible cough. Okay, let's look at Crimea. Yeah, there she is. Crimea. What is going on? Will we get Crimea to be returned back to Ukraine? The future of Crimea. Yes. Crimea will not be part of Russia. It'll be free of, yeah, the Russians are leaving. I think the UN's going in. I think NATO's going in, and I think that they're going to become part of NATO because they're too important strategically. I think that that's the takeaway here. They're too important strategically. All right, everybody. This was fun as all get out. Ooh, she's starting to knock things over. What'd you do that for, huh? Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me. It was so much fun. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com or you can go to Booksy. Booksy. The information is below this video. She has to. And then you can book a reading with me by phone, and then I call you. If you don't want to do the Booksy and you just need a really quick 5-minute question, I think it costs $20 to get a pre-taped recording, which is pretty cool. And you can find that information about Wizio 5-minute readings below. Also, if you'd like to join us as members, hang out with us, we'd appreciate the memberships. Fairies and Angels, we get together, we talk about health, healing, good times, free readings. Elders and Empaths, we're starting class Tuesday at 5 p.m. if you'd like to get training to be a remote viewer, or if you would like certification, we do offer it. So hopefully you will join us on Tuesdays. Trish, thank you so much for that donation. Please tell all your friends that this was a fundraiser for the World Central Kitchen, which is supplying meals to refugees right now in Poland and elsewhere. Thank you again for all your support. Share, like, subscribe. Also, make sure to support all the other readers that are going to be coming on today, Sunday. Be well, love and light, and I will see everybody next time. Oh, and thank you so much. Debbie Brady was kind enough to put the link up to you asked me a question, you just put it on the Wizio, boop, and then you get an email back, which is me tape saying hi, and then I answer your question. So that was nice of you. Thank you, Debbie Brady, for doing that. Thank you, everybody, for wishing me a happy birthday. I will be working on my birthday. I'll be teaching HCRV, but that's okay because I love hanging out with you people. Wholesome Girl, yes, the crematorium. I think that they did actually have photographs of the mobile crematorium. So yes, that was a confirmed story. Terrible. Thank you, Anonymous, for the $5 donation to the World Central Kitchen. Thank you for the happy birthday, Joel. He's so sweet. I do love it. I love what I do. It's so much fun. Oh, always blessed. I'm so glad you liked your reading. Oh, thank you, everybody. Please stay safe, and I'll see you next time. All right. Bye, honey. Bye. Bye, all. It was fun. And thanks for the advice about laundry. I got to work out the wrinkles issue because I love cotton. Anyway, bye-bye.